riffs are too repetitive, the lyrics make no sense. All the songs are B-sides and the cover art's a mess. There's so much here to tear apart. Listen to it for a week, now that week has passed. It's Why I Hate This Album podcast with Tim and Garrett.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Why I Hate This Album. I am, of course, one of your hosts, Garrett Harvey. With me, as always, the jade egg to my coffee enema, co-host extraordinaire, Timothy Richardson. Tim, how you doing, buddy?
Kind of grossed out and kind of bored.
Oh, that is the appropriate reaction, and I want to applaud you for at least indirectly referencing the album we'll be talking about today. Great start. I guess let's just get right to it. Boy, you've thrown me off by not throwing me off. There's no conversations of Tom Brady or weird dreams you've been having. I don't know. Let's just get right into it. I apologize. Tim, what album have we been listening to for an entire week straight?
We have been listening to the debut Coldplay album, Parachutes, aka the one with yellow on it, released July 10th, 2000.
That's right. That's how you know it. That's how I know it. But soon, we're all going to know way more about it. Timmy, after an entire week with these sad sack Londoners, do you hate this album?
Not yet, but probably.
That is an understandable response.
Yes, I cannot see how I don't get there at the end of this, because I am teetering on the edge of hate here. This album is fucking boring, but we'll get there. Garrett, do you hate this album?
Hate to ever repeat you on this show, but I gotta say, I'm no different. I can't say that I hate it. There's too much that's almost right, or at least very, very competent for me to hate it.
Yeah, this has the exact opposite thing of Jimi Hendrix. So Jimi Hendrix is brilliant, but you can imagine with just a slight tweak, it would all sound like noisy garbage.
Oh, sure.
This is garbage, but with just a slight tweak, this could be really good.
It could be my favorite band.
I wouldn't go that far, but yes, an acceptable band.
I might have gotten carried away. Anywhoozle. I don't hate it yet. I can't imagine having to talk about this for over an hour and not hating it, because I am just sick of it.
Yeah.
But we'll get there. Timmy, before we do, it is customary here on the show for me to ask, prior to this week, what's your experience with Coldplay? Had you been wrapped up in their parachutes before?
Well, yes and no. I never owned this album, but I have heard it enough times that I may as well have owned it. I've heard it honestly enough times I may as well have been a Grateful Dead fan following them around on tour. I probably could have done most of the notes this week without ever listening to any of the songs again. For whatever reason, I mean, through high school or maybe, I can't possibly imagine college, but this has wormed its way into my brain, and I kind of knew all of it.
Sounds like you might be some sort of closet Coldplay fan.
Well, I'm certainly a Chris Martin fan.
Okay.
Unrelated to his music. Garrett, what about you? I assume you've never heard this before.
Yeah, first time I'd ever heard any of this. No, what? No, again, unfortunately, I think many people have the same relationship with Coldplay you and I do. I'd heard half the songs on this album, not the other half were an absolute shock, and never once did I pay attention to what the words were till this week, of course. And I don't want to spoil anything, but I wish I had left it that way. I did not need to look into the thoughts and inclinations of Mr. Martin.
Oh yeah, he feels entitled, like he's on a boat with a lady.
There's a bit of an implication. However, that part comes later. As for the personal history, I will admit, and I'll call it out when we get to them, a few of these songs were voluntarily put on mix CDs that I made.
Yeah, I can see that. You were a sensitive boy. Well, actually, you were a sensitive man at this point.
Yeah, a young man.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess this came out when I was in high school, so that's still boyish. That complicated age where you're too big to be a boy and too small to be a man.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I was in that phase for like 3 years. So yeah, I had heard the hits, had not heard some of the deep cuts. I feel like you know this band better than even you knew you did, and I'd love to know why. Sounds like we've got some repressed memories to dig up.
I swear to God, I will not fall prey to this. The last time you said, "Oh, I'm just going to hypnotize you. It'll be fine." And then, 2.5 weeks later, I'm awake from a propofol-induced haze. And you're right, it was fine, but it could have been so not fine.
Listen, the two are hardly related.
They are directly related.
In so much as without one, the other would not have happened.
Yes.
Sure. But, Tim, I've hypnotized hundreds of people.
Okay.
Hundreds of people.
Okay.
And
what are you doing to those people?
for therapy, I don't have to answer to you. This isn't about me. It's about you. You are the first one. You are the first one to go under and begin screaming about the boatman and trashing the place. So I had to subdue you. You're welcome.
Well, in my defense, the last time I was hypnotized, it was by the boatman. And, well...
Oh, find the boatman.
Yeah, don't.
All right.
He will hypnotize you, and that's not a good thing. It's a crafty bastard.
Repressed memories aside. That's your history, that's my history. Before we can talk about this incredibly boring album, we need to understand a little bit more about the boys who made it. So, Tim, take us on a journey. Help us understand, who are Coldplay and how did Parachutes come to be?
In the magical summer of 1996, uni lads Christopher Anthony John Martin and Johnny Buckland, whose childhood histories I refused to look up, met during their freshman orientation week at University College London. They decided to start a band, and they called it Pectorals with a Z, because they were both very proud of their British chests and liked to bump their bare pectorals in place of high-fiving.
I can't imagine that's true.
Garrett, this is the history of the band. Mm-hmm. They wrote songs...
Sometimes you make assumptions.
They wrote songs together for about a year before inviting fellow UCL men Guy Berryman and Will Champion to join. And Garrett, as you know, it is impossible to do a four-way bare chest bump, and we have scientifically verified that this week using some greased-up interns. They changed their name to Starfish right before their first live show for obvious reasons.
Boy, I don't want to be crude here. We can't run the After Dark theme song again next week. We got some feedback, Tim. And we've run it before, folks. Way to not keep an eye on things, but we got some feedback on last week's episode. A lot of people disturbed by the opening sequence. Anyway,
it's about buttholes. Yes,
they're bumping buttholes. Yeah. Okay, that's not easy to do.
Well, there's just a technique to it. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so not content with the name Starfish and worried that it revealed too much about their method of greeting one another, the band took the name Coldplay, which was the name of another UCL band, but that band thought the name was stupid and was happy to get rid of it, so they just gave it to these idiots. In 98, they released the Safety EP. Chris convinced one of his high school, or, whatever that is in England, his friends, Phil Harvey, to drop out of Oxford and manage the band, which he did, and I don't know how good of a decision that was. I guess it did work out financially. They released a debut single called Brothers and Sisters in 99, and then they signed a 5-record deal with Parlophone just after Christopher, who was a reader in ancient world studies, graduated with honors in Greek and Latin, like Garrett, and unlike Phil Harvey, who did not graduate for many years. They released...
Wait, so how come the manager, who's not in the band and arguably has much less of a time commitment to this whole ordeal, how come he had to quit college, but the band members didn't?
Well, because Phil Harvey is a sucker.
Yeah, also notoriously stupid.
Yep, all Oxford men are. They released the Blue Room EP and performed at Glastonbury again in 1999. Then they kicked Will Champion out of the band due to conflicts recording the Blue Room, but then Chris felt bad about it and he went on a bit of a bender that led to him begging William to return, which he eventually did. Now, they were worried that these kinds of relatively minor conflicts would lead to the band breaking up and ruining all the magic that would be Coldplay, so they decided to put in a series of strict rules in place governing their conduct in interpersonal relationships as a band. They set up a weird democratic system, and they made it a rule that they would fire any band member immediately that did hard drugs. Now, this is the first, but certainly not the last time this episode that I will say Coldplay is fucking lame.
Wait, they had like rules for how to be in a band?
Well, yes, but they're sort of antithetical to being in a band. The rules.
Right. Boy. Yeah. Now, okay, I got to admit, I did not do a lot of research this week. That's Tim's area, and he frankly does a very good job.
Thank you.
Don't ruin it. I might hate them already.
Yeah, they suck.
They wrote up now listen, I can appreciate somebody taking at least some measure of responsibility for making sure that they're not just total psychopaths and miss gigs and don't practice. That's understandable. Arguably, the whole reason you made that poor child drop out of school, to manage the band. But to have a contract with rules, I could just picture Chris like handing out like homemade construction paper demerits, like that he's gotten laminated. He's like, demerit for you, you're late to practice. Sorry.
I assume that they would have a big board with everyone's name and a series of empty boxes next to the names that they would, maybe they have like frowny face and smiley face stickers, and everyone gets a grade for the day.
And stars, maybe.
Yeah. Anywho, they recorded the album of the week in late 99, early 2000, and started releasing singles from that. They did their first headlining tour and released the single Yellow, which obviously became a hit in both the UK and the US, mostly in kind of college radio. Parachutes was released in July 2000 in the UK and November 2000 in the US, which ended up earning them a Grammy for Best Alternative Music Album in 2002. Again, several years after it's released. I never understand the Grammys.
I really don't get that.
Yeah. Chris Martin said after the release of Parachutes that the album's success was meant to elevate the band's status to, quote unquote, the biggest, best band in the world. And I would like to say, fuck you, Chris Martin. Those are Bono words, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah, total Bono move.
Yeah. In September 2001, the band began to plot their second album, A Rush of Blood to the Head, which they recorded in Liverpool and released in 2002. They did a 1.5-year-long tour. They co-headlined Glastonbury. They released a live CD, DVD. Really, for each one of these albums, they essentially release a live album. And they were named 2003's Best Band of the Year by Rolling Stone magazine, a once reputable publication.
Wow. Yeesh.
Yeah. They got a series of other Grammys for that album, and Chris Martin was rewarded for all of his efforts with Gwyneth Kate Paltrow as his insane, even more insufferable bride.
Oh, God. Yeah, she is the worst.
Yes. They released X and Y in 2005. That was the best-selling album of the year and the third fastest-selling album ever in the UK. PETA named Chris Martin the world's sexiest vegetarian in 2005, and he might have been, but he did abandon that the instant he got divorced from Gwen. So, insufferable. They did the Twisted Logic tour, and that included a bunch of festivals. They toured Latin America and recorded in churches down there, and said their next album would have a more Hispanic influence. That was Viva La Vida, or Death and All His Friends, and that was the best-selling album of 2008 and became, at the time, the most downloaded album ever. That one was produced by somebody named Brian Peter George St. John Le Baptiste de la Salo Eno, who you may know as Brian Eno, a pretentious guy from Suffolk, England.
Yes.
Their next album, Milo Xyloto or whatever, was released in October 2011. According to Chris, it is quote-unquote about love, addiction, OCD, escape, and working for somebody you don't like. Strategically not adding, I hate my wife and desperately want out. They played Apple's private memorial for Steve Jobs. Then they released Ghost Stories in 2014, which was a spiritually driven album revolving around the idea of past actions and the effects they have on the future, as well as one's capacity for unconditional love. Then in 2015, they released A Head Full of Dreams, with Christopher comparing it to Harry Potter, saying, it's our seventh thing, and the way we look at it, it's like the last Harry Potter book or something like that. I don't know what that means. They did this.
I assume it means they're not going to do it anymore, or possibly there's secrets in there to defeat Voldemort.
Okay. I don't think either of those are true. They did
Maybe they had planned to kill Daniel Radcliffe at the end of it.
Ooh, ritual sacrifice. I like where your head's at. We might get into some of that in the album.
Yeah, we might.
They did the Super Bowl halftime show in 2016 with Beyoncé and Bruno Mars. Then,
I remember that. They looked terrible compared to Beyonce and Bruno Mars.
Well, everyone does. Then they performed Earth Angel before Johnny B. Good with Michael J. Fox in New Jersey, recreating some of that Back to the Future thing that they're completely divorced from in every possible way.
Right. But I watched it.
Oh, gross.
Because I like Michael J. Fox.
That same year, Christopher and Gwendolyn consciously uncoupled, which is the unbearably pretentious liberal phrase for getting divorced. And according to a Quinnipiac poll, hearing that phrase for the first time was allegedly the reason that 836 people switched their vote from Hillary Clinton to Donald Trump in 2016. Stop being terrible.
Yeah, that is, God, they're insufferable. She might be downright dangerous.
Oh, she is. She's allegedly. I mean, I believe this is not alleged. I feel like she has legally had to take back a series of medical advice that she's for some reason giving people.
Yeah. Anyway, just don't put anything Gwyneth Paltrow tells you to into your vagina.
Or butthole.
Good point,
butthole.
Yeah, that woman is just constantly trying to cram your holes with stuff. Don't listen to her.
The most important one. Don't put anything she says into your urethra. But also, don't put anything that anyone tells you to into your urethra.
Yeah, that is strictly an exit.
Yes. In 2019, they released Everyday Life, a double album that could fit on a single LP and features a song in Arabic or Persian, at least it has an Arabic title, that I think was stolen from the 13th century poet Sadi Shiraz. And they did not tour for that album, saying that they would not tour or promote the album until they could work out how it could be either a sustainable tour or actively beneficial to the environment. But then they released a new album, Music of the Spheres, and announced that they will do a 52-show tour in 2022, presumably having figured out the whole climate change thing. They have a bunch of pyrotechnics and confetti and stuff in their shows, but they claim it will all be environmentally friendly, kind of. They have invested in a new generation of sustainable pyrotechnics that have less explosive charge and new formulas that will greatly reduce or eliminate harmful chemicals. And confetti used during the show will be 100% biodegradable and require significantly less compressed gas for ignition than on previous tours. And also, the LED wristbands that they hand out will be made from 100% plant-based materials.
Just say nothing.
Yeah.
Don't just make up a bunch of bullshit. Significantly less, way more efficient.
Well, it's
then
also...
what? Then nothing? Not nothing?
Yeah, again...
Nothing would be the most efficient.
All of those statements, when you say significantly less, it's a term that sounds meaningful, and if you have some sort of data, but if you're just saying it in a random conversation, it's essentially meaningless.
Yeah, it basically means it used to be worse. They used to run on whales. Took
Yes.
one whale just to blast one confetti cannon.
Ooh, yeah, you use the blowhole. Stuff a bunch of confetti, or just random trash, really, in that blowhole, and then whenever it shoots out, you're having a party.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it does in fact kill the whale.
Every time, yes. It's a one-time thing.
One and done.
It's what makes it so magical, though.
Yeah, sometimes the most precious things just can't last.
Yeah.
Majestic creatures.
Whale cannon.
Does that pretty much do it, or?
Yeah, that's it.
Fantastic. That even felt lengthy. But thank you, Tim. We appreciate you doing the research. That brings us to, mercifully, general thoughts. Boy, let's start with the music as we tend to do. It's fine.
It's fine. It's competently played, but it is bland, boring music.
It's all a bummer.
Yeah, it's slow. It's sad. It's music to like water houseplants to. You know, if you were going to make a montage of a sad middle-aged woman and already in pajamas at 4:30 in the afternoon, putting out food for 6 cats that all kind of hate her, I'd score it with music from this album. It's,
It's interesting that I didn't know this because I don't listen to a lot of Coldplay, at least not consecutively. It is of a sound. Like there's a Coldplay sound. Like there's a Mac DeMarco sound. There's a Bone Thugs and Harmony sound.
Yeah, but I think
there is a Coldplay sound. That like their guitars are all tuned the exact same way for every goddamn song.
Yeah, but I think that the sound changes because they get decidedly more like electronic and less guitar-y as they're...
Are you talking about on this album?
Oh, no, sorry, in their career. Yeah, this album all sounds the exact same.
I'm strictly speaking this album. Yeah, you're 100% right. They basically just descend into pop music as time goes on.
Yeah, as everyone eventually does. I think it's kind of fitting that we do this right after Tool, though, because this is the like extremely soft rock, adult contemporary, easy listening version of Tool. You know, this is it's music that thinks it's deep. The fans think it's deep, but there's really nothing there. It's all window dressing. And for the amount that they claim that they're, you know, we're helping the environment, this is just all consumerist bullshit, and I kind of hate it. This occupies a really weird place in musical history. It's sort of Britpop, maybe post-Britpop, but it comes just a bit too late to really be influential.
What is this? You said something at the beginning of this episode that made me start to think Coldplay is not quite U2.
Right, because like with British rock, you know, you got the Beatles and the Rolling Stones where you've got that rock and roll and blues influence. You get weirder and more like idiosyncratically British with, you know, the Kinks or the Who, Village Green Preservation Society. You've got the Smiths and U2 in the 80s. You've got Oasis and Blur in the 90s. And then you've got, I guess, like Radiohead. And then this has that weird short gap in there. And I guess now there's like Ed Sheeran. But this feels like it's trying to recapture the Oasis Blur portion of that like Britpop movement. But
yeah, they're just late to the party.
Yes.
They're also not quite doing the same thing.
No.
Although Oasis is a good analog. It's a little different.
Yeah, but I feel like they're doing their own style, but they're kind of trying to continue that tradition. Like they wanted to be Oasis for the 2000s, I think. And I think Radiohead kind of took over the role that these guys wanted to fill, although they're doing something quite a bit different. Although maybe one or two of the kind of, I guess, drum tracks on this sound vaguely Radioheady.
That's fair. I think that's fair. I mean, there's definitely a number of songs on this album that you could play with a bit and suddenly you're in Radiohead territory.
Yes, but it also kind of feels like the musical equivalent of James Cameron's Avatar, where it's unbelievably financially successful, and we will get there, but there's just really no cultural impact to this at all. You know, if you ask somebody what their favorite movie and song is, no one's going to say Avatar in yellow. Like, that's just not going to happen.
Oof, if they do.
Yeah, you can
check that person for a zipper. They might be an alien.
Yeah.
That is way too generic of an answer. Are you a lizard person?
Yeah. Yeah. If Coldplay is your favorite band, I mean, that's fine. You're allowed to like Coldplay, but it's suspicious. Email us. I have a list of other bands you can listen to.
It'll be like this band, but better. So I like the analog, the sort of late 90s, early aughts U2. While I guess at that time U2 was doing that goddamn Elevation song.
But again, I feel like if you see these guys live, you might be getting something similar to that as well.
No, that's very true. It's hard to discuss this album in isolation because, as you've pointed out, the Coldplay of Parachutes is, at least to me, and I think to you as well, not even sort of the same band as the Coldplay that is loved the world around. And it is loved. I don't think that's the same band.
Yeah, I feel like they're just putting on musical costumes for each album, almost. They're all talented enough that they can do a bunch of different styles. And so every album feels like they're doing a different, like a cover album of a different band's album in that style because they're radically different.
Fair. Well, I think also Chris Martin is just really talented. And so...
Oh, sure. I think all of these guys are quite talented.
Yeah, that's fair to say.
They're just... And again, it might be a dumbing it down to be popular here because there's no real reason that Radiohead should be popular.
No, not really.
What they're doing for the most part is like weird and it's very specific and it doesn't seem like it's all that accessible to... again, I'm not the biggest Radiohead fan. I like some of their stuff, but, the average music listener, what are you getting out of Radiohead? I'm not sure that I...
That's an interesting question because I can listen to this album especially, or actually even the later ones more so by this band and go, yeah, I get why this is popular. But to your point, I don't know exactly how we got on the Radiohead kick, but to your point, what the fuck is so accessible about Radiohead?
Yeah, well, so I think that what they might be doing is they're all very talented and they're just intentionally playing bland music because they know that will be popular, as opposed to Radiohead, who is just doing weird nonsense.
Yeah, and I know we're jumping all over the place as far as timeline goes, but especially in the later albums, they're well produced. So it all sounds fine. It's just you and I, when we listen to music, we look at the lyrics, we look, is there a story to this? What is the point of the song? And when you ask those questions of a Coldplay song, especially the ones on this album, the answer is either there's nothing there or you're going to wish you didn't ask.
Yes, it might be apocalyptic.
I don't want to spoil a thing. Okay, so musically, it's, indie rock-ish, indie pop rock.
Yeah, it's indie rock. It's Zach Braff's indie rock, which is to say it's the adult contemporary easy listening version of indie rock. It's the musical equivalent kind of pretending to be into astrology to have sex with somebody dumb. It's
a very specific example.
Well, it's Gwyneth Paltrow. I'm gonna.
Oh, right.
Who is not allegedly an idiot.
Yeah, by her own admission, and by admission, I mean public statements and acts.
Yes, and possibly legally required documents.
Hi, I'm Gwyneth Paltrow. I'm an idiot. Otherwise, I'd be sued for giving you advice. But because I'm legally an idiot, you would never listen to me.
There's also shockingly no apologetics covers this week.
That is shocking.
It is. I thought there would certainly be a yellow.
Yeah. Now, Tim, we are faced with quite the dilemma. Do we reveal any of the content of this album in specifics, even at a vague level, or do we let it unfold for the listener themselves?
I think we let it unfold as we get into the lyrics.
Ooh, I like that. I like that quite a bit. I will say this, and this in no way addresses the actual content of the album, aside to say, I felt it to be very much of a whole.
Yes, it does seem like a concept album of a very troubled young man.
Oh, well put. Now, I also need to admit, my personal history, I'm not sure I fully admitted to my enjoyment of Coldplay at a certain age, that age being high school. I was a sensitive lad.
Oh, yes. This is the poetry Garrett, right?
Yeah, that kid really liked some of these songs.
I can see that.
And
yeah.
it's pretty embarrassing.
Yeah.
It's funny, though.
Yeah, I mean,
What
listen,
a sensitive boy.
we've heard your poetry. It is completely in character to like these songs. I don't think you should be more embarrassed than you were before.
Now I'm like more embarrassed generally about my existence, but less specifically about that event.
Excellent. That was the intention. Track number 1, Don't Panic.
One of the better songs on the album.
Sure, yeah, it starts out fairly promisingly. There's some simple acoustic guitar. This might be kind of okay.
Yeah, and to be fair, I think this is the song I know best on the album, both from the Garden State soundtrack, as well as, Tim, do you know what hit television show this song is featured in?
Numbers.
Is it?
No, I don't know. I just assume with
it's
you it's Numbers. Bones.
No, it's in the pilot. No, what? It's in the pilot for Rescue Me.
Is it?
Yeah.
This does, yeah, because that's the thing. Dennis Leary's a very sensitive boy, too. He's a high school poet of a man, if I've ever seen one. He pretends he's not.
It's a hard, smoke-covered exterior. So leathery.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. To hide the fact that he's a sensitive boy, he once spent a full 24 hours inside of one of those large industrial-sized smokers with a bunch of briskets.
This is a jauntier Coldplay song. It's also one of the few songs that doesn't feature him going on and on and on in a high falsetto.
I do not like the falsetto. I think this would all be better by
if
half.
he did this whisper voice.
Or just saying, just don't do the stupid falsetto thing.
It really wears on me, and I don't know if we said this in the general thoughts. It creates a sense of homogeneousness. It becomes too homogeneous. Like because he chirps off in a high falsetto with basically the same guitar across every song, it's really hard for me to differentiate one song from another musically or even lyrically.
Yeah, and I think that's part of why I felt like I knew this whole album, is I knew 4 songs on this album, but all the rest of those songs, exactly, are the same songs.
Yeah, 11. This one in particular, I guess we should get into it. As we said, he's not singing in a high falsetto. It's much more subdued, almost whisper singing. He says, "Bones sinking like stones, all that we fought for. Homes, places we've grown, all of us are done for." Now, right up top, sounds kind of like, I don't know, end of the world, some sort of extinction situation?
Yeah, it's, did you look up what this is supposed to be about?
No.
So the title is a reference to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, where the main character, Arthur, doesn't appreciate Earth until it is destroyed. So I assume it's about like pollution, or given the time this came out, a hole in the ozone layer over Australia, maybe? I don't really know.
No, we were well past that worry by 1999. Yeah. Once we banned CFCs in the United States, pretty much across the globe, except for China, then we stopped caring. Anyway, not the point. We're not talking about chlorofluorocarbons here, Tim. Talking about, well, in my notes, we're talking about dinosaurs. I'm tired of talking about an apocalyptic situation, so I thought, bones sinking like stones. Sounds like the tar pits to me. All that we fought for. Yeah, sure, hard out there for a dinosaur. Homes, places we've grown, all of us are done for. They're looking up, asteroids careening towards the Earth. This is about extinction.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Because it's basically the same notes that I have for all of the songs will stay exactly the same. Just picture that instead of these guys, they're Pixar-esque dinosaurs.
Ooh, or incredibly lifelike lifelike dinosaurs with hideous plumage.
I don't like it. I don't like feathery dinosaurs. I don't. It's
it's one of the weirdest things to have happened. Like it's basically an undeniable sociological experiment. You and I grew up, no feathers on those dinosaurs. That's how it should be. Now, in all likelihood, as I've said for years, they almost certainly have disgusting plumage and may or may not have been warm-blooded. We'll see. But I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
They look stupid.
Here's the thing. You know me, Garrett, and I think you can vouch for this.
I do know you.
If I value anything, it is scientific integrity. Would you say that's the case?
I think number one, I say Timothy Richardson, a man who values scientific integrity. Yes.
Okay. Had I been a reviewer on the initial scientific paper,
oh boy,
that
I feel like I know what you're going to say here.
Not only would I have rejected it and prevented that information from getting out, but I would have stopped those scientists from sciencing ever
here's where
again.
Tim admits to a murder.
Not admit to. I'm admitting, because again, I was not the reviewer for that. Unfortunately, that got sent elsewhere, and so that information got out. But I would have hidden that,
nipped that in the bud.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Tim, I hate to tell you this. The new Jurassic Park, some of those dinosaurs have feathers.
Ugh.
Anyway,
wait though, does it have Chris Pratt still?
Oh, it's got Chris Pratt. It's got Sam Neill. It's got Goldblum, Laura Linney.
Do any of them have feathers?
Ooh, I didn't see any, but I'll bet Goldblum does.
Yeah, like it's just he shaves his feathers off on his like hands and face, and he wears just like a long sleeve button down shirt.
Exactly,
he's hiding them feathers.
We live in a beautiful world. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. We live in a beautiful world. Of course it is. It's a beautiful world. They live in dinosaur paradise. Soon to be a horrible nuclear winter.
Yes. And this is an annoying thing that they do very frequently on this album. They only write one verse per song. They write a verse and a chorus, and then sometimes there's like a bridge or an outro or whatever. But there's only one verse and only one chorus. And they claim that it's a different verse because like now two people are singing on it. Or we've changed the first line of the verse and then the next
word.
Right. And then the next like 4 lines are the exact same. So in verse 2, it's lazy. And this album, you don't notice it at first, but it is I mean, you kind of notice it musically, but lyrically, it's incredibly repetitive as well.
Yeah, it's wild. We get the exact same verse and the chorus, piano solo, chorus, guitar solo, and then we finally get our next stop with the only other new lines for the song where he says, "Oh, all that I know, there's nothing here to run from, because everybody here's got somebody to lean on."
It's interesting. Given their future success and given I guess they already kind of have a high place in society, they're hanging out at uni, they're studying ancient Greek and Latin, their manager is being talked out of going to Oxford. It's interesting because they say like there's nothing here to run from, and it kind of comes off as like, we don't have anything to run from. We'll be fine. The wealthy won't be affected by climate change or asteroids.
I did write down this may not be about dinosaurs, but rather a secret ruling class that will be entertained and or ruled by Coldplay.
Yes, perhaps, Garrett, it's about a secret ruling class of dinosaurs.
I love it, that live in the center of the earth.
Oh, yes, where dinosaurs currently live, according to that King Kong movie.
Yeah, man, I watched that whole movie and then I had to watch it again because I was like, wait, there's like an inner earth?
Because you watched it with the sound off for the first...
Shh. All right, the song's a tight 2:17 and then we're out. That brings us to track number 2, Shiver.
The intro to this sounds a lot like the last song.
Well, yeah,
and
of
then
course.
This one does get to what qualifies as rock for these guys before it gets lethargic again when we get to the vocals.
Well, and that's what's really funny, Tim. So personal history time with Shiver. This was on my sexy mix.
Oh no, Garrett.
I know. I know. It's two problems. There's 2 problems.
Lethargic sex and the incredibly troubling lyrics.
Right. So the incredibly troubling lyrics. I'm not sure what you said about sex.
Lethargic. Your sex is lethargic.
Not mine.
It was then, apparently, if you're listening to this. It's the kind of thing you could just nod off right in. Let me ask you this. Typically, one does not take massive amounts of downers prior to sex. But like, I could imagine a situation in which you thought you were going to like, oh, I got to get up for a test. And so you take like a whole bunch of sleeping pills. Right as you swallow them, like you hear a knock at the door and it's a lady friend coming over. And so you then have to fight through that weird haze that happens if you don't go to sleep after you've taken sleeping pills while making love to her. And, you know,
that sounds terrible.
It's a thing that happens. Okay.
No, I thought it was a quiet, like, sexy song. It's so two problems with it. One, it's not quiet. It's one of their loudest songs.
Yeah.
It's also really, really long. So, like, not only, and what's really crazy is because there were like 16 other songs on that sexy mix. If anyone's confused what the sexy mix is, that's when a lady comes over and you're studying or some other pretense.
20-year-old Garrett.
There you go.
Not current day. This is not a thing you do now. We should be clear.
God, no. This is when I was like 19. Yeah, it was in my, I guess it was also in my hotel, my apartment at Argosy.
Ooh, yeah. Nice shout out to Argosy.
Yeah, guys, come on down to Austin to the Garrett Harvey Life Tour. Take a stop at Shithole Apartment Complex on Justin Lane? I don't fucking know. Argosy Apartments. No amount of paint will make that look safer. Anyway, I was poor in college. So this song, Tim, was the song that I tried to get lucky to. And, you know, as history would have it, I, of course, failed. So it didn't really matter. Well, but this song didn't help.
That's the tragedy, though, Garrett. If you had followed the advice in this song, you would have gotten lucky every time.
Depends on how you define lucky.
Having sexual intercourse. Because this song...
Well, mine was consensual.
Oh, yes.
And
that's not what this song is about.
Yeah, because, folks, this begins a tale. A tale of obsession, seduction, possibly delusions, but we'll get into it. So the song begins, and it is delivered. I'll spare you, Tim, but it's delivered lasciviously. He says, "So I look in your direction, but you pay me no attention, do you? I know you don't listen to me, because you say you see straight through me, don't you?" And at this very moment, Tim, I'm curious to get your read. There could be a number of things going on here. One could be a guy who keeps hitting on a woman who's obviously ignoring him because she understands that he's a creep, or she's just not interested, which is totally her right. And she's made it abundantly clear because she sees that he's just, well, let's face it, a creep that constantly stares at her. Or give you an alternative here. These lyrics do point to a possible dead and doesn't know it situation.
Interesting. Yes, it could be. So these are the ghosts of dinosaurs wandering around on the subway, angry that people aren't.
You know what, Tim? That is a movie nobody's ever tried to make. Ghostbusters, eat your heart out. Ghosts, dinosaurs. I see dead triceratops. That's fucking terrifying. You can't communicate with a T-Rex that haunts you.
Yeah, especially if it's those gross feathered ones. Yeah, so I mean...
What do you have to say so that people can't steal your ideas? Trademarked? Disney Plus, fucking call us. I'm not joking. We've got something here. Haunting dinosaurs, Eddie Murphy, call me. I also want to point out before we move on to the next verse, so I look in your direction, but you pay me no attention, do you? Shockingly similar to a line I now know by heart. I look, I see, her eyes meet me, but a glance is all I get. Written 1 year prior to this song, by the way.
So you're saying that the Coldplay is ripping off your lyrics?
I mean, I read it in public to that girl while I fucked her in the middle of class, so...
Jesus Christ. Yeah, so again, yeah, the...
Chris, it's your cousin, Marvin Martin. You gotta hear this. Your kids are going to love it.
Oh, yes. So, okay, there's several options here. So it could be that this is about some sort of ghost, possibly a dinosaur ghost. It could be about that oh-so-common trope we have on this show of a guy who's in a relationship that he is just too good for and his lady treats him like shit and he just wants to complain about how she just doesn't care about him correctly. Those are the good interpretations. The bad interpretation is that he's some sort of Joaquin Phoenix Joker character who is angry at the lady down the hall because she isn't paying enough attention despite him being a very special flower. Now he's staring intensely at her. He's doing that weird rib thing to turn her on. Why won't she make eye contact with him, Garrett? Why won't she have sex with him? He just kind of hangs around waiting for her to notice him. Just notice how deserving he is of her.
I like this extra scenario. Listeners, let's continue the journey.
Possibly. And this is just sort of a combination of all of these. It is a ghost of a dinosaur trying to seduce a woman woman. And then he is angry that she is not responding and can't tell if it's because he's a gross dinosaur ghost or because she's just kind of a bitch. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Whatever. The thing you said.
Oh, well, Tim, that's probably why we're all confused here. It's probably all of those. The most likely. Song continues. Let's see if it gets any clearer. But on and on, from the moment I wake till the moment I sleep, I'll be there by your side. Just you try and stop me. I'll be waiting in line just to see if you care.
He's not going anywhere.
Here. He's not going anywhere. Moment you wake to the moment you sleep. And I'm not going to harp on every line I just read. It's pretty obvious. I think you guys can piece it together. But something I want to take note of. I'll be waiting in line just to see if you care. This is the first time, but I will argue not the last, that he seems to refer to this woman as some sort of deli counter.
Yes. Possibly a ride. I was imagining some sort of Magic Mountain scenario, but for his wiener.
Oh, goodness.
Not like...
I'm taken aback, young man. That's not what this episode's about. It's what we do. It's not what it's about.
That's fair.
Song continues. Oh, did you want me to change? Well, I changed for good. And I want you to know that you'll always get your way.
It seems to be another one of those things where people change all of their personality traits to get a lady to pay attention to them.
Yeah, and promises that you'll never have to argue with me. Whatever you want, feel free to walk all over me. I'll do whatever I must just to be near you.
Yes.
Now, up to this point, Tim, a lot of this could be explained away. Maybe it's a gentleman that wants her to know that I know I haven't always been the best guy, but I'm turning over a new leaf, and I want to show you that I'm here for you, and I've changed for good. However, there's a chorus here, and it is not really up for interpretation. He says, in a very high falsetto, "Don't you shiver, shiver. Sing it out loud and clear. I'll always be waiting for you." To me, there's never a moment in my life that I can conceive of where I'm going to tell somebody to stop shivering.
Yes. So I think what's happening here is that he's misinterpreting her shiver.
It's more of a tremble or shudder.
Yes, she is genuinely scared, shaking with fear even, and he has chosen to interpret that as her being cold. So, let's say she's chained up in a cold Liverpool basement below a recording studio.
We have escalated to being chained up. I'm picturing him continually showing up on the front porch at this stage.
Okay, sure.
Or, even better, Tim, he's in her bedroom. That's obvious. He's in the bedroom. Now, is she trembling in fear because you're not supposed to be here? Or they have said, Tim, I have read, I'm not saying, but I have read, leading paranormal psychologists will tell you that a room will drop 10 to 40 degrees when an apparition is present.
I think 40 degrees is a bit much. I'll buy your 10. That sounds reasonable.
It's weird that you're applying rules to the paranormal, but okay.
Everything's governed by rules, Garrett. Yes, so...
Sounds like a real let's make a contract and start a band kind of guy.
So she has woken up. And you know how sometimes when you wake up and you're kind of in that halfway between sleep and wake kind of feeling.
Oh yeah, the scream cycles. I know them.
Yeah, you do. Yes, you do. And so you catch something out of the corner of your eye, but a lot of times you're lucid enough to be like, I know that's just, I'm
shadow.
Yeah, I'm just seeing things because I'm in this state. So she wakes up and she sees him in the corner of her room and she's just waiting for him to disappear. She's sitting there trembling, hoping that
he was just a figment of her imagination.
Right. And just
as she squeezes those eyes tighter and tighter, all she hears from the corner of the room is, "Don't you shiver."
Yes. Yes.
She could hear it getting closer.
Right. And closer. Now, I mean, you're imagining Chris Martin in the room. It might be some sort of feathered chicken monster.
It's a Dilophosaurus. I think that's the one that spits.
Oh, gross.
Oh, man, that reminds me of Jurassic Park 3. Tim, when was the last time you saw Jurassic Park 3? A.k.a. the good one.
February.
Doesn't matter. There's a moment where Alan Grant falls asleep. Dr. Alan Grant.
Yes. Oh, it's amazing. On the plane, right?
Exactly. And he has pretty much this exact situation happen to him and dreams of a velociraptor, goes, "Alan." I used to work with a guy named Alan, and every time I would call on him, I'd go, "Margaret, what do you..." "Great. Fantastic. Alan." He was just like, "I've never seen that movie. This is lost on me." It's like, it's for me, not you. Shut up, Alan. Anyway, I love this. Some sort of singing dinosaur dinosaur haunting her in the corner is the best case scenario here. So yeah, you don't need to worry because he'll always be around to make sure that nobody's there to hurt you. Great.
Yes, except for him.
Well, remains to be seen. Song continues, so you know how much I need you, but you never even see me, do you? And then he finishes with this, Tim. Very interesting statement. And is this my final chance of getting you?
Yes, there is some terrifying final plan to make her see what she is too stupid and cruel to see, Garrett. His words, not mine. The final.
Of course. You're not calling her stupid or cruel.
No. She seems like a lovely lady.
I mean, a lot of stuff could be going on here. One, he could have realized he's dead and possibly a dinosaur. And maybe he's trying to kill her before he is called to his final resting place. Maybe she has figured out that he is a ghost and, again, maybe a dinosaur. And she has called her local Ghostbusters. Or it could just be he's waited too long and he's being called down to hell. Or, maybe he's not a dinosaur. Maybe he's not a ghost. Maybe he's just a creep and he has waited too long. He knows that he has waited in line till his number is called. He's starting to realize, oh shit, I don't think this is some sort of like you take a turn, I take a turn situation. I don't know that she's ever going to be into me. Have I waited too long to make my move? Whatever that move is.
Right. Has he waited too long? But he still sees one final chance. And that's what I think is the truly insidious and terrifying part of this song.
Sure. Because, again, best case scenario, it's a dinosaur or a ghost, but it's probably just a dude in her bushes.
Yeah. Or a dude at the deli counter that she works at thinking that number is all he needs. He's wildly misinterpreted the situation.
Hey, so how does this work? Oh, you just take a number. I just take a number. Yeah, you just take a number. And when she calls it, you go up there. I just take a number. And then that beautiful woman over there is just going to call it. And then it's my turn? Yep. Okay. What can I get you? All of it. You want all of it? Yeah, everything. Give me all of it. Get my manager. Larry, we got another one. Like once a week, some sad incel freak show thinks that he just has to take a number in order to fuck some poor unwitting woman.
On that
Dark
note,
stuff, Coldplay.
Track number 3, Spies.
Spies came out of the water.
Had not ever heard this song. What about you?
I had, but this was one of the ones I didn't know.
This is retroactively claimed to be written because of the band's love of James Bond movies. And I call bullshit.
I call bullshit too, but think about how sad that would be. There's this idea of the sophomore slump where your second album is worse than your first because you have a whole life's worth of experiences to write that first album. And then due to like contract nonsense, you have like 6 months to write your second.
Yep.
If this was about James Bond, how do you have so little to write about on your first album? Like, you don't have 11 songs? I mean, you've graduated from uni, for God's sakes.
I have let it go 5 times. There will not be a 6th.
Yeah,
do with that what you will.
This seems to be about having delusions or visual hallucinations and being terrified that there's always people there watching you.
Absolutely. There's no other way to listen to this and come to a different conclusion, Tim. This whole thing about James Bond movies is horseshit. Yeah. It is so nobody 5150s these guys because it is clearly a continuation of the story from the last song.
Oh, take us through it.
Unless it's a dinosaur, in which case it definitely isn't. But the song opens. I wake to find no peace of mind. I said, how do you live as a fugitive? Down here where I cannot see so clear. I said, what do I know? Show me the right way to go. Sounds like a man on the run, maybe from some of that stalking business in the last song. But he could also be, Tim, like, do you remember, what was it, I, Tonya, with the dude who kept claiming that he had done a bunch of wet work for various government organizations and just basically lives in a weird, basically he talks to people like they're in a chat forum, but it's reality. So everyone's like, no, you didn't.
Yeah.
That's kind of what this sounds like. Like he's suddenly on the run. He's down here, whatever that means.
It might be just due to his guilt for having, as he phrased it in the last song, for taking his final chance with her. He did the thing.
Now he's on the run.
But no, he got away with it completely scot-free, but he's worried that somebody knows. And
as you would be.
Yeah, and so, I mean, absolutely. And so you're always constantly looking over your shoulder, wondering when, the hammer's going to come down for, say, a strangling.
I think I want to meet you in the middle on this one. I don't know that what he did is over with or nearly as final in that last song. I think that we might still be up to our necks in it.
Oh, okay. So he made his move at the grocery store and maybe failed.
Here, can you help me get this couch into my van?
And yeah, exactly. And she got away. And now
I don't think she got away.
Oh no.
I think she's with him. So let's get into this song.
So he's like the Maria to his Jason Bourne, but she's just a hostage, and he is not Jason Bourne. He's just some sort of maniac in London.
Yeah, who thinks that he is protecting her.
Yes.
Yeah. Nobody ever anticipates being in a Jason Bourne-like situation with somebody who's just got mental problems.
There's a
it's
good
just
movie
purely
too.
Delusional. Yeah, that is a movie. They're after me. You have to understand. I have a very particular set of skills. No, you don't. They beat the shit out of you a minute ago. We are lucky to be alive. If I hadn't picked up that gun, we'd be dead. Anyway, song continues with a very troubling set of lines. He says, and the spies came out of the water, but you're feeling so bad because you know that the spies hide out in every corner. You can't touch them, no, because they're all spies. They're all spies. There's no real way to read that other than complicated delusions.
Absolutely. Did you know that...
By the way, that's your chorus.
And what a chorus it is, Garrett. Did you know that oftentimes, so people are scared of hallucinations frequently, like this young gentleman happens to be.
Okay.
But there's also hallucinations that, for whatever reason, are frequently Lilliputian. So
tiny?
Yes, their visual hallucinations are of miniature people and, the underwear gnomes, if you will.
Sure. And I went straight to Indian in the Cupboard. Boy, I bet they renamed that book now.
The Native American in the Cupboard?
Doesn't have the same ring, I'm not going to lie.
Does not. But oftentimes, people are just fascinated and interested in these hallucinations instead of being scared of them, which presents it presents kind of a conundrum for the hallucination, because usually, somebody sees a weird troll man or just any hallucination and is freaked out by it and kind of turns away from it. But if you're wandering about doing weird nonsense as a little person and the response is just wonder and interest, and then this person starts following you around, you've just kind of dedicated your whole day as a hallucination to this instead of just a few minutes.
I'm sorry. You're talking from the perspective of the hallucination.
Yeah, I'm saying if the person isn't scared of you, you really are dedicating a lot of time to freaking this guy out, or, then you have to go on, after you've stolen the underpants, what do you do with them?
I'm really disappointed in you. This was not necessary.
Fun, though?
I don't know how to reply to this.
Verse 2.
God, I feel like we should just sit in it for a minute. Let's just enjoy this moment. Fuck. God.
Now I'm embarrassed.
I appreciate it, but I also hate you. Yes, what a wild waste of time. If you are going to be a hallucination, make sure that you are terrifying, like some sort of ghost dinosaur, so that your subject runs from you. Okay, hold on. There might be something to this. It's very close to Monsters, Inc., so I want to be real careful, but there could be some sort of imaginary friend academy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're not far off. Disney Plus, Peacock, give us a call.
Yeah,
CBS All Access. I have no idea what that is.
I thought that was Paramount Plus. Is that a different thing?
Ooh, maybe they merged. It's the same company. Paramount Plus, give us a call. We will write you a very, very tidy 6 episodes on Imaginary You. Oh, they got to be younger, maybe. I don't know. We'll make it a kid's thing.
No, we'll make it about Chris Martin.
No, it's not going to sell. Song continues. I wake to see that no one is free. We're all fugitives. Look at the way we live. Are we?
No.
Is my question.
No. He is, in much the way that you assume everyone's getting the same mail that you're getting.
You assume they get all the same bullshit.
Bills and whatever. He is walking around with these wild hallucinations, and he's just assuming that everyone else is as crazy as he is.
I assume that he is seeing tiny people coming out of the water.
Yes, possibly. Yeah, I assume that they're dressed like ninjas, but they're little. They might be. I don't want to say minions, but they're probably cartoon-esque.
Oh, interesting. I was thinking ultra realistic.
Ooh, I think we could go either way. It's also possible that we do a cartoon or a computer animated film of this, and then there's a gritty reboot similar to this Bel Air show where it is not fun at all. It is upsetting.
That is doomed to fail. Listeners, don't watch the Peacock. That is, goddamn. Well, I guess I just ruined our streaming chances there. Oh, you know what, Peacock? I know you're listening. If you're willing to drop a bunch of money on a co-produced reboot of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air that's serious, aka Black OC, but co-produced by Will Smith and what I believe to be Russell Westbrook, give us half that budget, and we will give you an 8-episode children's series about the secret world of imaginary friends that will both surprise and delight.
Yeah, and if you don't like it, we'll make it terrifying.
Yeah, we'll make it a gritty reboot right after that, and it will be gritty. See previous episodes. One last final verse I want to talk about, Tim, and this is what makes me think that things are in progress, we'll say. It gets so sinister in the bridge. He says, and if we don't hide here, they're going to find us. And if we don't hide now, they're going to catch us where we sleep. And then there are 4 just spies and we're out. Now, Tim, it sounds like that he has possibly absconded this woman, either under the pretenses of her own protection, but let's face it, you show up uninvited into a woman's bedroom and insist that she must leave with you, chances are she is not going to be okay with it.
Yes.
Yeah, great. That pretty much wraps it up and brings us into track number 4, Sparks.
till I drive you away.
Another really sleepy, boring song.
Yes, but sinister.
Of course it is, Tim. This is all about a kidnapping in progress by either a ghost, dinosaur, or a creep. Begins with, did I drive you away? I know what you'll say. You say, oh, sing one you know. But I promise you this, I'll always look out for you. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Maybe he freaked her out with all that spies coming out of the water talk and drove her away. I don't know.
What he should have done is frame it as if he was coming up with the plot of an adorable children's show and then kind of just feeling it out to see how freaked out she was by the concept. And if she's not at all, just be like, well, that was real. Just to let you know.
They're real. And I am protecting you constantly from water spies.
Absolutely.
Which is why you should always drink your own pee and never tap water. Water spies.
That's just good advice,
Nope.
I think.
Nope. Don't drink your own urine. You can if you are trapped in the desert right now and the only 2 things you have are a phone that has our podcast but no signal and your urine. Drink that piss.
Eat that phone.
Wait till you run out of piss. It's funny because it's true.
Yes.
The song continues. My heart is yours. It's you that I hold on to. Yeah, that's what I do. And I know I was wrong, but I won't let you down. Oh, yeah, I will. Yeah, I will. Yes, I will.
He's not going to go away. He will not. He knows that this is going to go south, but he's going to force it anyway. And
it feels almost like a not staying on your meds situation. Like maybe there was a romantic relationship and then, bit of a departure with all that water spy business, and maybe he got himself back on some meds and things are stable, holding down the job, not constantly drinking his own urine, not seeing ghost dinosaurs and such, but secretly to himself, Tim, he knows he can't possibly resist the urge, the surge he gets when he gets off those meds.
Absolutely. In the bridge, he talks about how I saw sparks, and he sees a spark with her, but it doesn't matter how he feels or how she feels, right? That spark is probably going to be honored to his satisfaction, or she's going to end up in the Shiver chamber beneath the studio.
Oh, the Shiver chamber.
No one's coming to free you while he's out getting a sandwich or ducking and running from some spies or whatever it is that he does.
No, you can scream your head off. You're 14 feet underground in a basement he did himself. No contractors are checking on you. But we'll get there. I say we move on.
Sure. Track number 5, the one that everyone knows, Yellow.
Song for you.
Oh, hard to listen to this with fresh ears.
Yeah, hard to listen to this after reading through the lyrics and really thinking about them.
Yeah. Guess what, gang? It's another tale of unrequited love, and he ain't taking no for an answer.
Yeah, and it's going to have some serious consequences for the skins and or bones of this lady who had the misfortune of catching Christopher's eye.
Well, I'm going to tell you, Tim, that line that you are alluding to is the crux of my entire argument for this album.
Oh, all
but
right.
We'll have to earn it. Song begins. Look at the stars. Look how they shine for you. And everything that you do, yeah, they were all yellow. I came along. I wrote a song for you. And all the things you do. And it was called Yellow.
Don't care for that. Stop talking about the song you're writing.
Yeah, stop talking about the word yellow like it's a thing.
Yeah, Again, it starts off okay. It's pathetic. It's a little pathetic, at least. It's like that song that guy wrote for that lady so he could take her to the Grammys, and then that didn't work out for him.
You're always talking about Hey There, Delilah.
Yeah, it's always on my mind.
Love that song.
But yeah, so it starts off just a little sad. He's writing songs for her to try and attract her. He's talking about how, oh, you're so beautiful. The stars, they even envy your beauty, or whatever nonsense here. Lines that Garrett has almost certainly used as a 17-year-old.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, I was always telling women that they were yellow.
Yes, but in your defense, you were dating severe alcoholics who had liver
horribly
damage.
jaundice.
Yes.
Horrible jaundice.
So then I took my turn. Oh, what a thing to have done. And it was all
Yikes.
yellow. So he is describing being with this woman, perhaps just very briefly, as his turn.
It does seem to allude to some sort of like onesie, twosie, threesie, measy situation. Gross.
It is gross.
But Tim, we've established that yellow is good, right? And it was all yellow, and it was called yellow, and they were yellow, and you were yellow. Is there a chance he literally has yellowed this woman?
Oh no. What do you... Okay. All right. I know what that looks like in my head. I want you to tell me what you mean.
I have to read one more set of verses, and then I will circle back to what I mean. Ah, your skin. Oh yeah, your skin and bones. Ooh, turned into something beautiful. Ah, you know I love you so. You know I love you so. Don't compliment bones.
No,
if you
bone structure, sure.
Sure.
Yeah, you got great cheekbones, you got wide shoulders, you got great knees. All of these are great compliments. But the way that he phrases this, the skin, the bones, turning them into something beautiful, it seems like if she chooses not to be with him, not to honor his love, then her skin and bones will be arranged in a manner befitting of one of history's greatest lovers.
Cleopatra?
No, Chris Martin. This is how he sees himself, Garrett.
Oh, see, now I took it to read, of course, he made her yellow, and
what do you mean?
yellow... I'm explaining. This is the part where I tell you. I know you. Quit? Wow, you are sweaty. What I mean is the yellowing or waxy skin that he compliments and visible bones lead me to believe he's turned her into something beautiful. You know he loves it, so he's mummified this lady.
Oh, he's got a mummy tableau.
Mummy tableau. Classic MT. I think yellow is, I don't remember. Shit, man, they might have used paraffin. I don't recall. But every mummy I've ever seen has a yellowy, waxy figure with very prominent bones.
That's true. You know what? This is starting to add up. And then the bridge, he says, it's true. Look how they shine for you. Look how they shine for you, etc., etc. It makes it seem like after he's done his thing, she's just going to end up under the stars in her final resting place.
Absolutely. Possibly on some sort of Viking funeral. I don't know. I'm not a creep.
Well, you're not this particular breed of creep. And then he says, I'd bleed myself dry. I think he might be turning both of them into mummies so that they can live forever with those dinosaur ghosts in some sort of weird afterlife.
I love where your head's at. I figured it was just part of the ceremony. Maybe a little of you, little of me, little of you. Whoops, you're dead. And you're a mummy. I'm not sure. I bleed myself dry. Maybe he works himself to the bone, blood, sweat, and tears. To get that mummy face just right.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's true, though. Look how they shine for you. Look how they shine. A lot of times, guys, Tim and I have to do what we consider around here the heavy lifting and piece together scant tales that are merely alluded to in order to understand the words that are in these songs. This week, we're trying desperately to not understand the literal mummification of women for a celebration or some sort of ritual. But that's what we've got here. Okay? I'm sorry. That's what the song's about. You knew it. I knew it. We all knew it. It was all yellow.
It is what the song's about. Now, Garrett, may I make my biggest argument for why this song, nay, this album, should be hated?
Wow. Okay, bring it on.
Chris Martin, in an interview with Howard Stern, talking about the genesis of this song, he said it was about him imitating Neil Young and singing the phrase, look at the stars, in his quote-unquote most Neil Young-y voice.
Really?
Fuck you, Coldplay. That's not what this sounds like.
Dude, I can sound more like Neil Young singing a fictitious Fresh Prince of Bel-Air song than this dude.
It's a real song.
I'm not going to do it. It's not a real song. I guess it's a real song. It's just a different style. It's a cover.
Yes. Track number 6.
Anyway.
Trouble.
So cause your trouble.
Tim, I don't want to get sidetracked, but I'm beginning to think I could have been Coldplay.
You could have been. But you
I
kept
spent
it
so
all
much
in
time
a notebook.
trying-
That's the problem. That's the problem, Garrett. You were the poet. You needed to learn, I don't know, an instrument?
Did I?
Well, or find 3 guys that know instruments.
Or one?
Yeah, that's fair.
No, you're right. Anyway, yeah, I was too busy trying to be fucking Batman when I should have been trying to be Chris Martin.
Absolutely. What do you mean you were trying to be Batman?
What do you mean? What do I mean?
Now,
You know what I mean.
You've referred repeatedly to yourself as Shotgun Batman,
That was Shotgun Batman was
a character, and he
That's
was
a good way to start. That's a good way to start.
character.
Yes, a fictitious character. I was going to say more of a downgrade to my initial hopes of being Batman after learning the realities of trying to be a Batman.
Yes, it is not that easy to swing between buildings, and learning to fight takes a really long time, and you have to go to Tibet, and you have to bring a flower up to the top of this mountain, and then that
Ain't nobody got time for that.
yeah, that goddamn Taken guy, he's lying about what his name is.
Yeah.
The point is, just bring a shotgun.
If we learned anything from the latter-day Batman movies, just get a goddamn shotgun.
Yeah. Anyway, the song Trouble seems to be all about the terrible things Chris has done coming back to haunt him, nay, to ensnare him like some sort of Tom Ripley situation.
Sure, you could say he's tangled in a web of lies and murder.
Yes. Now,
You could also say, though, he is literally tangled up in a spider web.
oh, I like that. Like
Yeah.
perhaps the other members of the band didn't want to confront him about the screams from the Shiver chamber down below, and so they simply constructed some sort of sticky spider web over the stairs, and then whenever he got caught in the spider web, they roll him up in a carpet. And then yeah.
Ship him off to Riyadh.
Yeah, or just drop him off at the edge of town.
You'll figure out what it means. No, we will see, Tim. Is it a metaphor for his deceit, lies, and obsession, or did he literally just walk into a spider web? Oh no, I see. A spider web is tangled up with me, and I lost my head, and I thought of all the stupid things I said. Makes sense so far. Could be either one. Could be a literal spider web. Also a lot to point to the fact that he is reflecting on all of the things he said in order to lead him into this web of lies and murder.
I like the idea that he is such a songwriter that while walking down to the Shiver chamber, he happened to get a little spider web on his face. It was just like, there's a song.
Yeah, I mean, those walls are exposed earth. It stands to reason there's spiders down there.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, trademark, Shiver Chamber. So I turned to run and thought of all the stupid things I've done. I think he just overreacted, Tim. You and I have both overreacted to bug interactions, we'll say, and it can be embarrassing.
Yes, I remember once our first apartment together, way back there in college, when you decided raid was not enough, and then you decided that fire was not enough, so you combined the two, and
Raid fire.
it was a fiery raid. It was napalm-esque.
It was liquidish, I'll say that.
The problem,
so
I
I'm
think, is that you'd already sprayed so much raid.
Yeah, because I didn't take that into account in my measurements.
Right.
I eyeballed it. Let's see. Song continues. And I never meant to cause you trouble. And I never meant to do you wrong. He feels terrible about what happened to that poor spider after he got twisted up in that spider web. Or, potentially, he feels kind of bad about mummifying that woman.
I don't think he feels bad about that. I think,
Maybe he feels bad that he doesn't have any more woman to mummify.
Yeah. Or that he
Or
had-
maybe he sees all the news, right? Let's give her a name. Let's make sure it's not a real name. Let's call her Debbie Kleinman. No, that's a real person. Debbie Halderbob. That's not a real name. He sees on the news all of these sad family members of Debbie Halderbob, and he's like, oh, I never thought that draining all your blood and slowly turning your skin into a waxy-like figure, accenting your bones and hollowed-out eyes, would cause anyone trouble or pain. I just wanted to immortalize you through the ritual that make sure that you'll be there in Valhalla when I pass to the next side.
really specific. Really, really specific. And I like
I
that.
listened to this song a lot this week.
That's fair.
So I twist and turn, but here I am in my little bubble. He just can't escape that goddamn web.
Yeah. I like that the outro for this song is they spun a web for me, said over and over again. It's sort of accusatory, and I don't know.
The spiders are out to get him.
That's true. Anyone that is anti-Chris must be out to get him.
Yeah, its spiders are possibly his demons. As we've seen, he can't seem to shake the desire to mummify a woman. Or a man.
That's fair.
I don't want to be judgmental. It's not a sexual thing. It's about power.
Yes.
Now, Tim, I don't know if you noticed. Hey, without one, you can't have the other.
What?
Now, Tim, there... I think I said that right. Now, Tim, there are 40 seconds at the end of this song that is just dedicated to piano and sad guitar. And while I don't want to applaud the sad guitar, I don't know that we have said enough just how insanely good Chris Martin is at piano.
Is he the one playing piano?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, good for him.
I think so. I watched him. He was on Stephen Colbert or something maybe recently. He's got a new song out, and it's with some guest ex-Disney something. Selena Gomez, I think. And so I saw him on there. He seems to always be playing the piano. Anyway, track number 7, the very, very delightful title track, Parachutes.
I'll be loving you always.
I don't think we've had an album yet where the title song is just an interlude.
Yeah, it's almost like they forgot.
Yeah.
What did we call it? Parachutes. Ah, shit.
I mean, it's got some nice acoustic guitar playing. It's sort of the same general theme. Nothing will stop him from being there for her, whether she wants that or not.
I think it's a bit of the reset button, Tim. I think parachute is an allusion to his backup plan, his next safety net, if you will. After he gets rid of his previous mummy, his mum-ess. What did we name? Debbie Klingenbop?
Sure.
Yeah, now he's got his eye turned to somebody new. The song says, in a haze, a stormy haze, I'll be round. I'll be loving you always. Always. Here I am. Me. Oh, goodness. I mean, they don't say it, but it is alluded to. Here I am, and I'll take my time. Here I am, and I'll wait in line. Always. Always.
So they have hired a new deli counter girl. What if this is like the 7th deli counter girl that's been abducted from the same place, and they never put it together. They just keep hiring.
Suicide.
She
My
mummified
God, this
herself.
woman mummified herself again. What is it with these kids? You think it's the Pokemon?
That would be the concern at the time. Pokemon and Marilyn Manson.
Yeah,
working
influencing these kids to slowly soak their skin and flesh in honey until it becomes soft and malleable.
Jesus Christ, it's so specific.
I listened to the song, Tim. I just listened to the song.
Oh, God. I'm going to let this one go because I do not want to know more. Track number 8, High Speed.
Confidence in you. This confidence in me.
Another bummer, Gino.
Yeah. This one, to me, kind of has a little bit more of an early Radiohead vibe. Again, it's not good, but it's got a little bit more of an experimental thing going on.
Oh, I called it British Dave Matthews, vaguely.
Yeah.
It's weirdly jammy.
It is jammy. There's a couple of songs where the drums have not gotten the message that this is supposed to be a slog, and he's just kind of making it a little bit upbeat despite the rest of the song.
The song begins, Tim. Can anybody fly this thing? Before my head explodes or my head starts to ring. Now, this thing is very important. Obviously, it could just be a relationship. He's starting up a new one. As we have already clearly shown, it is a new deli counter worker. And things are escalating quickly. What is this? High speed? Things are moving quickly. Before, he was able to quietly wait his turn till they called his number patiently. And now he finds himself escalating things, maybe moving to the next stage, possibly ready to appear in her bedroom sooner than the last poor mummified woman or man.
Perhaps he is attempting to talk an elderly woman into trading numbers with him.
So we can get there sooner.
Yes.
I still love the idea of the guy being like, and she's mine after that. Wait, what? This is for meat. Song continues. We've been living life inside a bubble. We've been living life inside a bubble. Obviously, he visits there every day, gets presumably a single slice of ham. And
he's not a rich man, yeah.
Yeah, you can't be buying pounds of meat every day. You look like a psycho. Just say,
there's nothing more of a turn off than taking home 2 pounds of ham every day in front of your lady.
You got dogs? No. So yeah, he gets his daily slice of ham, and maybe he's just kind of been living in his own bubble. He's just going through the motions, not realizing, hey, she might be starting to catch on to the fact that you've got slightly irregular behavior. Or even worse, Tim, maybe those spies are starting to come out of the water again. Ooh. Chances are, if he's obsessing over a new deli counter worker, he's probably off those meds.
Yeah, I've often found that if you really want to make your hallucinations go away for at least a month, mummify a woman.
Your words, not mine. Song continues, confidence in you is confidence in me, is confidence in high speed. I interpret that to be, listen, I need you to calm down and trust me. Tiny men are coming out of the water to spy on us, so we need to go on the run.
Yeah, absolutely. That's if anyone was going to convince me of anything, if they said confidence in me is confidence in them, is confidence in high speed, I'm in.
Say no more,
Yeah.
friend. You've convinced me.
Yeah. Do you need me to kill a guy? Like, how can I help?
Yeah, that's a man I can trust, like a Stanley Goodspeed. Sorry, I just watched The Rock twice last week.
Sound off both times.
Yes. God, I love that movie so much.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's insane. Anyway, sorry, I don't want to get us on a rock tangent.
I wonder
Let's
what
see here.
Ed Harris's head smells like. I bet it's like
Ooh.
it smells like rich oils. I bet he takes
Sandalwood.
Yes, he takes really good care of it. I would.
Yeah, like maybe he's got some sort of like really nice sunscreen that doesn't smell like sunscreen. It smells like leather.
Yeah, like a sunscreen you can only get if you're rich and powerful.
Exactly. Because, I mean, the man is bald, more or less. He's basically
not more or less. He is the baldest.
So he's got to screen up that skull.
Yeah, you can't wear a hat if you've got that head.
No, that's not a conventional head shape.
No.
Also, you got to show it off.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
When people hire Ed Harris, 40% of that contract is for the head.
Yeah, it's like Vin Diesel. In that scenario, a head is a euphemism for his script doctoring abilities. Track number 9, We Never Change.
I wanna live in a
I think the opening of this sounds a little like Elliott Smith.
Yeah, it's got some folksy acoustic guitar. It's not bad. Again, the music, it's boring and repetitive, but for one song, it's pretty good.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. At this point, we are 9 songs in, and every one of them is just such a bummer.
Yeah.
This one begins with, I want to live life and never be cruel. I want to live life and be good to you. Want to mention something right up top. That is a statement a non-cruel person would never make.
Exactly.
Never once in my... Well, that's not true. Most people don't ever have to worry about being cruel because it doesn't come up.
Yes.
Most people.
Right.
And I want to fly and never come down. And I want to live my life and have friends around.
Yes, that's a statement that people with friends never have to say.
That's true. I think he wants to be happy and not have those moments of darkness. Doesn't want to take those meds that force him to face reality and the fact that people don't want to be around him on account of all of those hallucinated Lilliputians.
Absolutely. And it goes on here, so I want to live in a wooden house. I want to live life and always be true. I want to live life and be good to you. After he has done the bad thing, he wants to maybe take this new deli worker, retire to a cabin in the woods, maybe avoid the technocratic realities of industrial society and its future, and I, for one, applaud this concept.
I agree. I took it slightly more metaphorically that he wants to live in a wooden house instead of a glass one where people can easily throw stones at his secrets and lies and murder.
I feel
But
like...
I like yours too.
Yeah.
However, also in there, though, is the lines, we never change, do we? No, we never learn, do we?
Absolutely not.
That's not good. That's not how you end up in a cabin.
So I want to live in a wooden house where making more friends would be easy. That doesn't make sense. Oh, and I don't have a soul to save. Yes, I sin every single day.
He does confirm the song is about his sins.
Yes.
But the outro, he wants everything to be sunshine where everything is yellow. He says, I want to live in a wooden house where making more friends would be easy. I want to live where the sun comes out so everything can be yellow, which as we know is not good. It sounds like he wants to turn over a new leaf, but he's not entirely convinced it's possible.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times people have this where they've just lived the same way for years and years and years, and then they meet somebody and they decide to change for them, and it lasts for up to 3 months.
Yeah, but eventually you're back to finding that next deli counter worker.
Yeah.
Track number 10, Everything's Not Lost.
open, everything's not.
I really enjoy the first verse of this, where it's just vocals and piano.
I thought it sounded a little like Randy Newman or Billy Joel.
It does kind of sound like Billy Joel. This song would be much better if the rest of the band didn't insist on joining.
I agree.
It kind of has almost a post-Beatles song feel to it, like something that Paul McCartney would have thrown off.
Yeah, I would definitely plant this firmly in the McCartney jingle jangle camp.
Yeah, it goes, when I counted up my demons, saw there was one for for every day. With the good ones on my shoulders, I drove the other ones away.
So our kidnapping mummy maker is battling his demons and finally listened to the good voices to help him battle the bad ones, and he has chosen that maybe his new bride could go free?
Yes, I think so. Mummy but bride. There was one for every day makes me think, because obviously he's not mummifying a woman a day. That's
slice a day, Tim. He takes that number, he waits till his turn, and he checks to see for the opportunity. Is this the day I get a slice of ham, or I kidnap a woman and shove her in a trunk?
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So if you ever feel neglected, and if you think that all is lost, I'll be counting up my demons, hoping everything's not lost. Tim, I think this is our main character saying to celebrate every day like it might be your last, because it might. I'm going to let you go. I'm not going to turn you into a honey-soaked, mummified yellow creature. But I'll be watching. I'll be there by your side. And if ever the day comes that you're taking for granted what I've given you, I'll be counting my demons. And if they say all is lost, we'll finish this game.
So it's like he's like Tyler Durden threatening that convenience store guy that wanted to go to veterinarian school, Raymond something.
Yes.
Except instead of shooting him, he's going to horribly mummify her.
Well, in his defense, it's beautiful.
Oh, sure. I mean, the end, listen, it's an upsetting process, and there is a lot of disgusting thrown away material, but the end product, the MT, the mummy tableau, is beautiful. I will give him that.
Absolutely. Song continues. When you thought that it was over, you could feel it all around, and everybody's out to get you. Don't you let it drag you down. I think what he's saying here, Tim, is, hey, when life gets hard, I want you to remember that time you thought all was lost and that I would be placing each one of your organs into a respective urn next to your mummified corpse. And that's when you can know, you faced adversity. You can get past this.
Yeah, I mean, that is a really good outlook on life. Once you have brushed by mummification, the world is your oyster.
Absolutely. It's like having a really good workout. You just can't worry about anything the rest of the day because you're too exhausted. You shouldn't get bent out of shape about traffic because at one point you were seconds away from being turned into a living tableau. Well, a dead living tableau. You get what I mean.
Yeah.
A mask of horror. Then we get to a terrible bridge. He says, singing out, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Everything's not lost. And that is repeated 5.5 or 6 times, depending on how you want to count.
And then we get a brief little pause, and we get the hidden song, Life is for Living.
Just aches when I think of.
Considering the material on the rest of this album, that's a bit of an ironic title there.
I think we've gone on a full hero's journey, Tim. Now, granted, our hero is a monster, but he does have an arc and he learns a lesson. He starts out, mummifying women. He comes to realize that there's more to life, that things can be yellow without the need for placing people into a permanent urn.
Really, the lesson that he has learned is that instead of literally mummifying people and keeping them in the way you want, you can just metaphorically mummify them.
Yeah, I also like to think maybe this hidden song represents some time passing from the other events of the album. He says, now I never meant to do you wrong. That's what I came here to say. But if I was wrong, then I'm sorry. But don't let it stand in our way, because my head just aches when I think of it. The things that I should have done. But life is for living. We all know. And I don't want to live it alone. So Tim, I think he has returned to the woman he set free years later. And he's like, hey, I think we got off on the wrong foot. Can we start over? I'm Rick, and I don't turn people into mummies anymore.
I have a completely different read, Garrett.
Love it.
He has gone out. There's one body that one mummy really, that the police never found. And in his mind, because she remains a mummy in the woods, they're still together. He's still tied down by her. She is his ball and chain. So he has gone out to the woods to break up with her, you see. And so he gets out there and he says, listen, I know I wasn't the best boyfriend. I mummified you. If I was wrong, I'm sorry. But listen, life is for the living. I've got to go out there. I've got to go find somebody else. I can't be with you. You're a fucking mummy.
I even took it one step further and it's like, listen, I know I mummified 3, 4, 5 other girls right next to you. That was horrible of me. I'm sorry. That was insensitive. But those days are over. I'm not with mummified women anymore. I've got to move on.
Yeah, he's breaking up with his mummy lady.
Local police today arrested a man when they found him breaking up with a corpse in the woods. Details at 7. It's
No,
not you, it's
thank
me.
you.
It's you. You're a mummified corpse.
Yeah. I honestly, yellow, not a great look for a human.
Yeah, that's true. Alrighty, Timmy. The chorus is a bunch of weird sexual moaning, and that pretty much takes us out of the album.
So hold on.
Oh,
Do you
okay.
think once he got out there, he went out there to break up with her, and then, as per your interpretation of the chorus, maybe they got back together?
Well, there's always breakup sex, Tim.
Fair enough.
Are you glad you asked now?
Nope.
I didn't think so. How did it do?
Pretty well. This was a number 1 album in Norway, Scotland, and the UK. It only hit number 51 on the US Billboard 200 and number 29 in the Dutch. That would definitely change with their later albums. This did eventually sell over 2.7 million copies in both the US and the UK. It was double platinum in the US, non-upple platinum in the UK, and it sold more than 13 million copies worldwide. But you have to put that in context because this was at the height of Napster and LimeWire and etc. So way more people, probably more than 13 million copies were downloaded illegally than actually purchased. So everyone's
I sure as fuck
heard
didn't
this.
buy the C-dingle of Yellow.
Fair enough.
Actually, I might have. Shit. Anyway, that's how it did. What did people think of it?
Well, Garrett, there are 3,861 reviews on Amazon, 4.8 out of 5 stars on average, 88% 5-star, 2% 1-star. The first review that I present for you is by Brian D. Donovan from November 10th, 2001, called his review thought-provoking and ironical.
Oh, we should just stop there. Okay, go ahead.
I had actually never heard of Coldplay until I read an article about Charlize Theron in Esquire magazine. She had remarked that it was the CD she presently had in her car. Now I sure have. I read an earlier review that Spies reminds them of 9/11/01. I have that same specific thought. I had just purchased the disc right around that time and listened to it constantly. Maybe it's a timing issue, but I find the lyrics haunting. They're gonna catch us where we sleep. They're being Bin Laden and the rest of those ignorant, sadistic folks. Enough ranting. I absolutely love this album. I look forward to more great stuff from Coldplay. I hope the next one won't be as ironical, though. Brian, 5 out of 5 stars.
I mean, the two headlines from that review are obviously ironical and 9/11. Because, I mean,
Do you think so? Okay, here's the thing. He referred to, I guess, Al-Qaeda as ignorant, sadistic folks. Now, I present this to you. When Barack Obama was talking about black sites overseas, he casually said, "We tortured some folks." Now, do you think it's possible he got that phrasing from Brian D. Donovan's review of Coldplay's Parachutes from November 10th, 2001?
I wouldn't rule it out. I guarantee you Barack Obama has heard this album.
Oh, yeah.
Probably doesn't find it ironical.
Probably not.
Did he really say, we tortured some folks?
Yes.
Wow, that's glib. You're glib. Get out of here, Tom. You gotta laugh him away. You gotta out-laugh him, Tim. That's the secret.
You
if he's in the
can't.
room, you gotta laugh him out.
You can't do it.
I mean, yeah, I'm sweaty.
Yash's review from August 14th, 2020. Amazing. I bought this vinyl as a gift for my boyfriend. The condition it came in was amazing and the quality is incredible. Although he frequently has to flip the vinyl in order to play all the songs, which can get slightly annoying. The sound quality is great and totally worth the money. 5 out of 5 stars.
Frequently was the wrong word.
That is a person who was unaware that vinyl was double-sided.
I'll tell you what, Tim. My kingdom for a self-flipping record player, or even just an auto-tune, what is that called? An auto-tune arm?
Oh,
the toner arm? I can't remember what the fuck they're called.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, where you just hit play and the fucking thing lines itself up.
Yeah.
My record player and your record player, well, yeah, is far too expensive to not do that itself. It really pisses me off.
Fair.
Any other reviews?
Yes. One's by Scott S. called We Live in a Beautiful World from March 9th, 2008. This is beautiful music. I distinctly recall direct comparisons to Radiohead at the time of this release.
Oh, man! Cover band.
And
Radiohead.
And I must say, I can draw virtually no comparisons between the two artists. Radiohead stinks. Radiohead is useless noise. Coldplay really delivers some beautiful, oftentimes powerful melodies throughout this disc. Sentimental moments abound here. Minimalism works when it is executed correctly, and Parachutes is a testament to that. The album is extremely relaxing and even gives me the chills at times. Songs like Don't Panic, Shiver, Sparks and Trouble are tremendous achievements. Solid album album through and through from a terrific band. 5 out of 5 stars.
They probably feel a little differently if they realize that sentimentality was about turning a woman into a waxy visage.
Fair. Eve Voorhees on March...
Voorhees!
Yes, it
you
might...
think there's any relation?
It might be. Might be the mom. March 13th, 2005, titled His or Her Review, You've Gotta Be Kidding. I read the reviews and then I listened to the samples. If this is great music, then I'm a bow-legged octopus. This is boring folk rock at its best. I cannot believe what's being passed on as talent nowadays. And to characterize this as perfect is stretching common sense and rationality to their very limits. 1 out of 5 stars. I'm gonna start using bow-legged octopus.
Yeah, it's pretty good. The rest of the review could do without. Great reviews, Timmy. Who's this for?
This is for people that are kind of boring but want to feel like they're really living a wild and interesting life. It's for repentant serial killers. It's for people trying to get over 9/11, apparently. It's for people that hate Radiohead.
All valid. I don't think I can top that. That brings us to final thoughts. This is going to be interesting. Here's my problem. The only thing I can say about this that we haven't already said is I had way too much fun today.
Yes, I agree, but I think that was us and not them. I would never, ever want to listen to this again.
Don't you shiver? No?
No.
Look at the stars. No?
No.
Okay.
No.
That's fine. I mean, I'm going to sing it at you later. Oh, it's hard to say that I would want to hear this. Honestly, the very first song I could probably listen to down the road and not get frustrated. Because it doesn't sound like the rest of the album. But we've been all the way through it. We've really broken things down. Boy, I mean, we've had a lot of fun. I've had a lot of fun. I don't know if anybody else did. Gino's drunk as a skunk. So I'll ask it. Tim, after the last, 90-ish minutes, do you hate this album?
You know, I don't. I don't. Wow. I really don't like it. I think that it is boring, but I think kind of like you said, there's a lot more here, I think, than perhaps even Coldplay meant. And I don't like this album. I don't like this music. I don't like this band. I don't quite hate it, though.
It's fair.
What about you, friend? Did you get there? Do you hate this album?
I hate to disappoint people, Tim. I really do. But fuck, man, I agree with you. The problem is that we're too well versed. We know, at least we've got a good idea now of the spectrum of quality, and this is too good to place in the same category as many of the albums I've hated. It's too close to stuff I kind of like, and above all else, I had a lot of fun with it. So no, I can't hate it.
Fair. All right.
Boy, that's disappointing. Disappointing. Neither of us got there. We kind of got there.
Yeah.
I think it was the dinosaurs.
Yes. I think when we came up with the idea of dinosaur ghosts haunting people, that was the moment I probably wasn't going to hate this.
Yeah. Oh, well, we did it again. Folks, that's literally all we do here on the show. If this is your first time, we ask at the end of every show, God Almighty, we ask, go out to the Apple podcast app, throw the 5 stars out there. If you're busy, you're done. That's it. That's all we ask. 5 stars. Done. Done. If you got a little more time, throw the 5 stars up there, get it out of the way, then write yourself a little review. The weirder, the stranger, the more insulting, the funnier. We'll get our attention and you'll see it appear on a future episode. Now, wouldn't that be fun? So get out there, get to typing. But most importantly, if you're busy, just 5 stars. That's all I ask. Boom, 5 stars. See you later. That's not a lot to ask. We don't get nearly enough. We get a lot, and if you've done it, thank you so much, but you could do more. I know how many people download the show, and I know how many people rate the show, and those numbers are fractional of each other, like low fraction. And I'm not great at fractions, but it's less than half. That's not great. You can also reach out to us at hatePodMail@gmail.com, or you go to hatepod.com, click on Contact Us in the upper left-hand corner, and ask for an email. It's just so we can reply. We assume if you reach out to us, you'd like us to reply to your questions. If you don't want us to, you can put utter nonsense in there, but then again, what are you doing, man? It's just weird. Anywho, we want to hear from you. Tell us what you like, what you're into, what songs, albums you'd prefer to hear, weird stories about the songs or albums we've already talked about. Maybe you have a anecdote about dinosaurs. Do you think that they're warm-blooded? Do you have proof that they had full, disgusting plumages? Or I want to hear about it.
Preferably, do you have some sort of proof that they don't?
Oh, that would be ideal. You can find us on the Discord server. We got subreddits. We've got Instagram. That's HatePod. You can find us on Twitter. That's Album HatePod. I'm G Harvey Tweets on Twitter, and hell, I'll talk to you about God knows what. Get knee deep in dinosaurs. I don't give a shit. I think that's about it. For Why I Hate This Album, I have been one of your hosts, Garrett Harvey.
I have been the other, Timothy P. Richardson. And on December 10th, 2016, Garrett P. Harvey said, "No one has ever heard of thumbprints."
Hey, do you know somebody on Twitter started a handle dedicated to In Conversation for the show?
I didn't, because I don't go on Twitter.
Oh, well, that's all the thing that's happened. And quite honestly, folks, it's better than our our Twitter feed. So you can follow us at Album Hate Pod on Twitter. But then more importantly, I don't know the handle, but I retweet it all the time. You can follow us in conversation. That is where entirely nonsense quotes are pulled completely out of context and put on the internet to destroy us. It's pretty funny.
I hope only yours, because that's what the game is.
No, it's both. It's of course both. Yeah, but it's not necessarily attributed to one or the other. It just says the Why I Hate This Album podcast.
Oh, I'm okay with that.
Not bad. Me too.
There's cowboys running through my dreams. Nothing's quite the way it seems. I joined the Navy, got kicked out in a week. My facial features aren't distinct. Try to find some meaning in these songs. The genius is a genius, got it wrong. No, it's a lobster murder sex thing. It's the bleaching of the rear. A full assault on both your ears. The riffs are too repetitive. The lyrics make no sense. All the songs are B-sides. The cover art's a mess. Listen to it for a week. Now that week has passed. It's the Why I Hate This Album podcast with Tim and Garrett.
I have been the funny one.